We knew about everyone's stories, everyone's life story we knew. Which hero we were working with, who he's having an affair with, whose wife beat up whom. We knew everything about each other. Because of the pay disparity, if the hero would be doing only 5 films, we'd be doing 30 films in comparison. So we would actually be running from studio to studio, so did not have that much time to hang out with each other. Rasha gets really excited when she's on the dance floor with her friends or something, and suddenly a song, of mine plays, and she says, "Mama, all my friends turn around and they start singing for me and pointing at me."
Raveena, Ruchi, welcome to Film Companion. We're talking about your new series, Karmma Calling. And honestly, the thing that intrigued me first is the fact that, Ruchi, you apparently took this project to Raveena a decade ago under different circumstances. And it didn't happen then, but here we are today. That sounds very, very intriguing to me. Firstly, what is it about this project that kept calling you back?
I think it was when I saw ABC Studios' original show, Revenge. As an audience, I just loved it. Yeah. And when I saw the first episode itself, I just thought that this is what the Indian audience needs to see. So I went to Star and pitched it to them. And of course, I wanted Raveena for the show. And they were also very excited. But of course, it had to be an official adaptation. So they went about getting the rights, and I went to Raveena. And she couldn't do it. She wanted to do it at that time and excited about it.
Do you remember how you felt when she pitched it to you a decade ago?
Totally. I remember we were sitting in the downstairs office in my basement.
Yeah.
And it was something that I really wanted to do even then. But unfortunately, at that time, I think TV used to take a lot more time since it was for Star Plus, not for an OTT platform. So they wanted a many days, and then I just couldn't devote that kind of time. Both my kids were very young. So I said, okay, this is not the time that I think I can do this right now, though I love it completely. And then they went back, and then there was anyway a lot of changes that were going around. So I think even they sat back and then it is, when the stars are right and aligned together to make something happen, the universe just makes it happen. And hence, cutting everything close, Karmma Calling has happened to us now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And actually, there's this very powerful line in the trailer that says, "Jab sab kuch jal ke raakh ho jati hai, to ek hi option rehta hai, badla." You've actually talked about how you've gone through heaven and hell in your career in Bollywood. I want to know from you, what is the strength that it takes to not resort to badla, but trust in karma?
Yeah, I actually am a very strong believer in karma myself. And I do believe that what you give out ultimately takes a full cycle and comes back to you. And that is something that I totally believe in. What you do unto others ultimately comes back to you. I have always tried to do my best, and touch wood, I am at a situation where there was a time where, yes, you do have your struggles, you have your trials, and you sometimes have to walk through fire. But nonetheless, it is your own faith and your own inner belief in yourself and your convictions that takes you through it all. And here I am.
Yeah. So when you've talked about, losing some projects, for example, and stuff, kabhi laga nahi ki abhi badla le lu?
No, never. Because of the fact that it was their loss. It wasn't mine.
Want to say, there's another saying, which is, the best revenge is success.
Nothing succeeds like success.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. In fact, you've talked about how Raveena just checked all the boxes when it came to this character, whether it's the glam or the sass or the power. And of course, that's also how we see her.
Yeah.
I want to know, what is it that made this an exciting casting for you? Like, what made you think that she would be interested? What would the challenge in it be for her?
Well, I feel it's a very layered character. Those are the what you see like in the trailer or whatever. Sure. Those are the main characteristics that people see and she exhibits as Indrani Kothari. But of course, there's a lot of layers to her. And as the story unfolds, you know, you feel a certain way about her. And then after 2 episodes, you totally change your side. And then after 2 more episodes, you change your side again and again and again, which is also the fun of this show. And also long format in terms of a series, because you can you really get to explore a lot more complexities than you can in a feature film.
Oh, absolutely.
Where you're bound by a single, you know, thread of a storyline.
Yeah, yeah. No, but speaking of the glam, Raveena, until very recently, we have the best of music directors still writing lines like Matak Matak Jaise Raveena Tandon or Raveena Tandon Bantan Ke Kitte Chali. I mean, of course, that is a huge compliment. Have you been able to put your finger on what it is about Raveena Tandon that has the nation in a tizzy even now?
My good karma, I guess. It's all about the karma.
But well, of course, like I said, it is a compliment and I'm sure you see it like that. Does it ever get awkward when your kids' friends come home very, very starstruck by their mother?
No, actually not.
No?
They've seen me since the kids were, you know, young, and they've all of their friends have been around. So that has really not happened. It might be a little bit adverse on the contrary. It might be sometimes a drawback to the kids. They face that. Everyone thinks it's always all glamour and fun, but they don't see the other side of the insecurities and the jealousies and the peer group pressure that does happen, that our kids do have to go through. In fact, it's more so like that. Forget that it happened to me. When I was in school, I remember, you know, my teacher one day asked, oh, so how is your dad? And, you know, in the class, and who all are the people, who are the actors who come to your house and stuff in class. So I rattled off the names, this uncle, this auntie, that auntie and stuff. And later on, I just found all the other kids so hostile towards me. Oh, you keep just showing off that this one came to your house and that one came to my... I said, but the teacher asked me, what do you want me to say? No, I'm not going to say. So this, I think I was in the 4th or 5th standard or something, you know. So it's sometimes that kind of a thing that you also go through. So yeah, it's a bit of both. But yes, Rasha gets really excited when she's on the dance floor with her friends or something, and suddenly a song, you know, of mine plays, and she says, "Mama, all my friends turn around and they start singing for me and pointing at me." So there is a sense of pride they do feel in that, and especially when my not only my songs but when my performances are also appreciated. So. They feel good about it. Even my son feels good about it, even though he doesn't have one filmy bone in his body. He's not even seen any of my films.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. He's seen the comedies, but he doesn't, I mean, not that he only watches English films or something like that. He doesn't watch films, period. So, yeah.
Interesting.
He'll only watch football, or he'll only watch cricket, and only watch swimming. That's all that he watches. Yeah.
No, but I actually giggled at this line in the trailer where one of the characters calls you auntie and you're very quick to correct them. You turn 50 next year and I don't think you've looked better. I'm curious to know, what is your relationship with aging? Like, how do you embrace it?
I think you have to accept it. There's nothing to hide, and especially these days when you have everything out there, you know, on social media to see whether it's your Aadhaar card or it's your passport or anything. So you really cannot, and I don't hide, honestly. Yes, there are times where people have, you know, still kept me not gone beyond 46 or 47. That's when I tell them, no, dude, I am this year born, and so please calculate, you know, this is what it is. There are so many times we've actually also written to Wikipedia to try and correct some of the age, and then we also tried to do it, but it didn't happen or whatever, and then still people refuse to. They want to believe what they want to believe.
I've literally never heard of any actor say this.
I
called Wikipedia.
Yeah, my team, I just tell them, hello, correct karo, because people think I'm lying. You know, but ask, I never lie. They asked me that day also, all the kids were around, and I said, hello, I'm turning so much. So, yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. In fact, you just bumped into Vivek Oberoi, and I was actually thinking about a conversation we did with him at Film Companion last week with Shilpa Shetty as well, where they were talking about how things have changed since the 90s. And he said, na sirf camera ka vajan, rishton ka bhi kam hua hai. Is that something that the both of you agree from then to now? Like, were the relationships more intense in terms of quality of time?
Well, I guess quality of time, and because of the human to human bonding that we all used to have, because there was no other form of entertainment in those days. There were no smartphones, there were no luxury vans, there was no, as soon as the shot get over, everyone buzzes off into their vans or they're on the phones or something. So we were all left to our own defenses, and we had no other option except to put the chairs together and sit down, whether we were shooting in the sands of the desert or we were shooting in the midst of a jungle. You had no choice but to sit with each other, and we knew about everyone's stories, everyone's life story we knew. Which hero we were working with, who he's having an affair with, whose wife beat up whom. We knew everything about each other. We actually knew, and that is the bond that I think the entire, whoever started in the 90s clan has even now. We are all friends and we all stand by each other.
I saw how he waited outside to come say hi to you. You know what I mean? So I guess that's still...
So like I knew Shilpa was down, I sent her a message saying, go for it girl, kind of thing. We keep encouraging each other, whether it's Madhuri, me, Neelam, Sonali, or even Shilpa, encouraging each other's projects on social media. I mean, we might not meet every day, but we definitely have that love and that bond and that respect for each other.
Yeah. What do you feel?
Well, even, I mean, I came here and I started working, say, in the late 90s as an AD. And what I feel is at that time, there was the volume of work was so much less that everybody had more time for each other. So there was actually a lot of hanging out that happened between people who were working in the business, because people were not that busy, you know. And now, of course, it's another story because everyone is juggling more than 2 projects at any given time.
I beg to differ about the women actors in those times. Because of the pay disparity, if the hero would be doing only 5 films, we'd be doing 30 films in comparison. So we would actually be running from studio to studio, so did not have that much time to hang out with each other. But when we were all working with each other, or we would go for concerts or shows together, we would, you know, whether it was Juhi, me, or it was even Manisha and me, or whoever, we were all together. It would always form a kind of a bond which we have carried forward even till today.
Where are these stories of catfights coming out from then? This sounds amazing.
Those are photo shoots.
That was all rubbish. That was just all mirch masala, and those were just headlines in those days which used to matter.
Also, those days there was a very big difference between, say, the mainstream commercial film industry, which you were a part of,
and the queen of.
The queen of, rather. And I was very much part of a very independent indie kind of cinema, where there was a very big crossover somewhere in the middle, which you were part of. You were very much part of it.
Of course.
Maybe even, I don't know, one of the first of your generation, if I'm not mistaken.
Optionally made the
while you were still doing very well in commercial mainstream films.
That obviously does remind me of Shool, where I've heard you say in an interview that Ram Gopal Varma said to you that he just couldn't envision you because every time he closed his eyes, you were singing.
That is true. And in fact, when we were shooting the promo, and Enivas totally believed in it. Anurag Kashyap was totally convinced. But when I was shooting the promos and I got out of the makeup room and I went to stand in front of the camera, there was a long corridor, I remember, from the makeup room to the set. And I was crossing the corridor and Ramu came from front. Ramu was the producer and a dear friend as well. And he crossed me and I said, hey Ramu, how come you're so late? So he just looked at me and went, like, something like that. I said, hey, how are you doing or something? And he went like, and he just crossed me and went, I said, God, he's really upset that I'm doing the film and he really didn't want me to do the film. So I was like taken aback. Anyway, I went on the set and I was doing my job and emoting for the poster of Shool. It was all those, you know, really intense with tears and, you know, crying and very emotional shoot. And suddenly in the midst of the emotional shoot, I said, hey my God, Ravs, are you? What are you? That's you? I said, yeah. I said hello to you in the corridor. You didn't even acknowledge me. He said, I didn't recognize you. So that kind of case closed, you know. So he was like, okay, we're going for it. So that is how I got Shool actually. And that's when I could experiment ahead with different kind of cinema that I wanted to do.
Amazing. Do you ever feel like the huge success that you got with dance and comedy came in the way of directors exploiting your potential as an actor that you're getting to do with stuff like Aranyak, Karmma Calling, KGF?
I think to a certain extent, yes. In those days, it was very easy to get stereotyped. You know, कि अरे ये तो dance numbers और यही कर सकती है. So that's why to convince directors and producers like Ram Gopal Verma and you know, to do a film like Shool became difficult, became an actual fight. You had to persevere to be able to convince them to give you that break. So that was like she said, a conscious crossover for me from commercial glamorous to doing something like that. Even though there were a lot of films that were author-backed roles for me, whether it was Andaz Apna Apna, or it was Imtihan, or it was Dilwale, where it was always me and two other heroes. But nonetheless, they were again commercially glamorous kind of films, which, you know, had more of action and songs and then emotions, not the absolute, you know, what you would call realistic kind of scenes in it. And then came Satya and Shool and stuff, which sort of brought the fusion, I think, between realistic cinema and commercial successes. And that's where things started getting a little more real, you know, rather than the fluff and the dancing on the Switzerland slopes.
But you enjoyed that.
I loved it. I'm dying to do that all over again as well. But and that is what made me actually, to a certain extent, to reach that point. So ever grateful to all those songs, because those songs have also kept me alive till date, till now. And the remix is being made out of it. And I mean, whoever might do it, wherever they might do it, but I end up owning them all over again. So it's just a shot in the arm.
sass is intact.
So it's just a shot in the arm for, you know, the song, and to make it relevant more to the Gen Z.
So I just want to come back to Karmma Calling. Of course, it's releasing on Hotstar really soon. I see how layered your character, Indrani, is. And they feel, like you mentioned, she's just carrying so many layers to her. I'm very curious to know, I've heard you say in interviews that I laugh the loudest when I'm the saddest.
The lowest. Yeah, that used to be me for sure.
Is that something that you feel is non-negotiable in the sort of industry that we live and work in? And does it get taxing?
You know, it has nothing about the industry to do. It was me as a person, and what, whether I went through personally or professionally. It was for me, yeah, that is how I was. If I'm laughing a little too loudly in those days, or, you know, it was just to let out the tiredness or the feeling that I am going through at that time. And that was my way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
However strange this sounds, well, I hope you don't laugh very loudly there. But please tell us, what are you hoping?
I laugh heartily now.
What are you hoping that the audience sort of takes away when they watch Karmma Calling on Hotstar?
Well, I hope they all experience one sleepless night as they binge watch the show.
Yeah.
I mean, really, one of the reasons why I really want to do this, I just thought it was a very delicious show which you can binge. There's guilty pleasure in it, but it's really engaging. The plot moves really well. The characters are so layered and unexpected things keep happening. It has a very strong core. And at the end of it, you know, when you watch it, you somehow feel very empowered because, you know, something which seems impossible is being attempted, and to some degree, at many places, there's success. It's a David versus Goliath story at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And unlike most such stories where David is really dragged through the mud for a very long time, you see little snippets of success. So you feel empowered, you feel that there will be justice, you feel, yes, karma is going to come calling. So, I mean, that's what I also love about the show.
Yeah.
And it's a fun watch. It's like a treat, actually, visually. So I just hope they are entertained, because that is the purpose of this show.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Can't wait to watch it. And I'm so thrilled that we no longer have to use the word comeback when we talk to you, because clearly you're here to stay.
I actually believe in quality over quantity.
Yeah.
So I can do every other project that has been offered to me, and she's been witness to that.
Yeah.
A lot of projects have been offered to me which I've said no, which have gone on either to become hits, done well, or whatever. But it's not that everything. I am a greedy actor with the kind of work that I'm doing, but not that I want to do everything that is there. So yes, so that's why when there's a little gap and I do again something, everyone's like, okay, another comeback. I was like, how many comebacks now?
But there's one more thing I want to add. One of the very cool things about the show, as you see, that the person who's the most glamorous and the one who everyone like jaw drops is the woman character who's older.
Yeah.
Which is quite revolutionary if you think
actually,
about it. It doesn't happen.
Well,
And
when it's Raveena Tandon,
who
it
else
happens.
could do that? Who else could do that? When people say, how did you say? I'm like, who else?
Keep matak kings. Thank you so
you
much.
so
It was a
much.
pleasure talking to the both of you.
Always.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.